Good morning. Today we are starting module number 8, that is grinding wheel wear. We are skipping one module which is on surface integrity. Once we complete grinding wheel wear, we will go towards surface integrity. So this is lecture number 8.1. So first let us try to see how do we quantify wheel wear. Once the quantification has been discussed, we will go towards mechanism of wheel wear. So once again, most of our discussion would be for flange surface grinding, and all these discussions are equally applicable to other grinding processes. So this is a flange surface grinding. This is the grinding wheel which is rotating with a rotational speed of ns. This is the workpiece which is reciprocating under the grinding wheel. This is BW, and this is the width of the grinding wheel which is BS. So this is BS. Let me write it clearly. So this is BS. The infeed or downfeed has not been shown. This can be shown here as the downfeed. So this structure you know. If you go on grinding using the same area of the grinding wheel, pass after pass, then you are going to develop wheel wear. So there would be radial wheel wear which has been shown like this. That is, the grinding wheel surface will gradually wear out. The periphery of the grinding wheel surface which was initially here, that will gradually wear out and go inside, and after n number of passes this would be the feature. This would be the complete feature. So there would be a radial wheel wear which would be measured by this. So this is radial wheel wear. This will take place provided you are doing flange surface grinding. If you are doing other kind of grinding, what would happen? We will come to that. We will also discuss that. So first we will try to see calculation of wheel wear. So calculation of wheel wear can be done using this particular method. Calculation of wheel wear or volume of wheel wear would be equal to pi ds into BW. That means it is basically, this is the periphery of the grinding wheel and this is the width. So this is your width and this is ds. Though you can say that there is some amount of wheel wear, why we are not considering that? We are not considering that because delta rs, that means this particular volume, this particular radial wheel wear is very small. So that into delta rs, this is going to be your volume of the wheel wear. So this can characterize the total wheel wear. So total wheel wear can be characterized by two things. One is how much is your wheel wear, radial wheel wear, and along with that how much is your volume of wheel wear. So this is very important, that how you calculate this. It is nothing but pi ds, which is the length of the circumference, into BW. So that is the area, that into delta r, that is in the radial direction, that will give you the total wheel wear. So this wheel wear volume is as if like a annular disc. It is like an annular disc having very less annular thickness. How much is the annular thickness? It is delta rs. So if you can visualize that, then you would be able to understand how much is the volume of wheel wear. Now we would try to quantify wheel wear with respect to how much was the volume of wheel wear when it removed some material. That means, say this particular value is 100. So after how much time this 100 was achieved? Was it achieved after removing 100 millimeter cube of workpiece, 1000 millimeter cube of workpiece, 10,000 millimeter cube of workpiece, or 1 million millimeter cube of workpiece? So it is important that we also calculate the volume of material removed, and then we compare this to quantify wheel wear. So let us see. Before that, before calculation of that, we would like to say nature of wheel wear in case of traverse grinding. In case of traverse grinding, this is the same color, I will take a different color. In case of traverse grinding, this is the workpiece which is reciprocating with VW. This is NS. This is your A. And please recall, after each pass, this moves in this direction by the amount of cross feed. So, which I think we used SC to give that cross feed value. And in this particular case, this is the zoomed feature. So, this is moving in this direction for the cross feed or transverse feed. So this is the cross feed, or it can also be called transverse feed, and this is called traverse grinding. Here what would happen, after some time your wheel will develop a edge rounding. There would be a rounding at the edge. So this is unfortunate. If you use such a wheel, instead of getting a nice square section here, nice square ground surface, there would be some amount of edge rounding which will take place. So this kind of wheel wear is called corner wear. Corner wear. Other than corner wear, there would also be gradual change in the diameter of the wheel which will take place, radial wheel wear. So there would be corner wear and radial wheel wear. A combination of this will take place in traverse grinding. Now let us come to calculation of volume of work material removed. So this is the workpiece which was reciprocating in this direction. This is the front view. This is the front view. This is the length of the workpiece, and what you are doing is planche surface grinding. So what you are doing is planche surface grinding. So it is reciprocating, and your grinding wheel is here, which I have not drawn here. So your grinding wheel is rotating in this direction and it is reciprocating. What is this? This is the down feed per pass. And what is this? This is the total grinding that has taken place. Total grinding. So your A total is nothing but A into N, where N is number of passes. So that is it. So A total is A into N. Here the concept of grinding, here the concept of what I am trying to say is that grinding cycle I am not bringing in. That will complicate the matter. So we are assuming A total equal to A into N. You might say that A into N is not equal to A total because you require more number of passes to remove say A total amount of material because of wheel deflection. That particular aspect I am not bringing in. So under such a circumstances, how much work material has been removed? The work material removed is LW into N into A into something else. What is that something else? That something else is the width of the job. That something else is nothing but the width of the job, BW. So that into BW, that becomes your workpiece. So we have a expression for gamma S, that is the wheel wear, amount of wheel wear or volume of wheel wear, which is pi ds into Bw into delta Rs, and this is the amount of material which has been removed. So now let us see what we can do with these two. This one are two graphs. I will first come to the first graph. This is N or number of passes, and this is delta Rs, that is, this is radial wheel wear, Rs or delta Rs, whatever you do. So initially your wheel wear will rise very sharply, then it will remain steady, and once again after some time it will go in this like. So this nature of graph, that is Rs versus N, is very much similar to growth of VB, which is average plank wear with machining time. It is very similar to that particular graph. And there is another very generalized approach which I would like to mention. If someone plots delta Rs dot, that is rate of wheel wear, with number of passes, they are going to get a curve like this. This is called bathtub curve. So those who have gone through a course on reliability and statistical quality control, they would be knowing about it. I'll give you an example. If you purchase, say, 10,000 incandescent bulb, not LED bulbs or some kind of that, incandescent bulb which used to cost something around 10 rupees, 12 rupees, and you test them, you put them and test them. Immediately you see some of the bulbs will get damaged. So initially within first 2-3 hours or 10 hours, the rate of failure of the bulbs would be very high. Possibly there was some manufacturing defect, possibly there was some defect introduced because of vibration and all during transportation. After that, the failure rate would remain very, very low and it would be very steady. Once you cover, say, around 4,000 hours or so, I am not very sure about that amount of hours, say 1 year or so, once again those bulbs will start failing. So it is something like infant mortality. So this particular period is infant mortality, and this is the old age mortality, and this is the steady state graph. So here also this is rate and this is the actual value. Now from this gamma S, already we have written gamma S equal to pi ds into Bw into delta Rs. So this is your gamma S and this is your gamma W. Gamma W is once again function of number of passes, N into Lw into A into Bw. So these graphs, if you plot as gamma S by gamma W, it comes out to be this. Now, with what do I quantify wheel wear? Because we started with this particular premise that wheel wear quantification. How do I quantify wheel wear? I will quantify wheel wear by something which is called grinding ratio, which is 1 upon this slope. This slope is, so 1 upon this slope is nothing but, so instead of this, what I will write is this. So this is from this point to this point, and this one is so this becomes your grinding ratio. Now as you can understand, for unit wheel wear, if this delta gamma W is more, that is better. So if your grinding ratio is larger, your wheel wear would be less, and that is more desirable. So if you are doing some grinding and finding out experimentally grinding ratio, and you have got two grinding ratios like 400 and 950, definitely a grinding ratio of 950 is good. What exactly is 950? That means you can remove 950 millimeter cube of work material for a 1 millimeter cube of wheel wear. So that is the interpretation of grinding ratio. This grinding ratio is being measured in the steady state. So this is called local grinding ratio or steady state grinding ratio. So here this delta gamma W and delta gamma S has been taken. I have taken them to be very large so that I can show you very clearly. Otherwise one can measure here as well. He will get same value. Only thing is that his delta gamma W would be a bit different than what I have shown earlier. Nothing more than that. So it is somewhere else, as because it is the slope is steady. Wherever you measure, the local grinding ratio or the steady state grinding ratio would be same. Now let us come to something which is called cumulative grinding ratio, or simply it is said grinding ratio. If you do not have so much of data, what you can do is that you can say this is my slope from the 0th pass, and that will give you a grinding ratio of 1 upon slope, and that is gamma W divided by gamma S. However, this is called cumulative grinding ratio. Steady state grinding ratio is much better approach to calculate, and that should be delta gamma W divided by delta gamma S. So this is a better approach to calculate grinding ratio. However, grinding ratio is also calculated using this. That means where this is your gamma W value, this is the one terminal, the another one is 0. So it is starting from 0. So from 0th pass you are calculating. You are incorporating the initial high wheel wear unintentionally. Typically you should do it here, as I have explained in the previous slide. Now let us talk about now the mechanism and what is the typical values of grinding ratio. Grinding ratio can be very, very different. I'll give you an example. If you are grinding hardened steel with CBN, your grinding ratio can be as high as 40,000. If you are doing internal grinding, your grinding ratio would be even higher. If you are grinding hardened bearing steel with alumina, a grinding ratio of 100 to 400 is acceptable. However, if you are grinding vanadium alloy steel with alumina, the same grinding ratio will go down to 1 to 2. What is the reason for that? I'll come to that later on, once we try to explain mechanism. What are the mechanism of wheel wear? One is attrition and bond fracture and grit fracture. There are two kinds of attrition. One is mechanical attrition, one is chemical attrition. This value being so low, 1 to 2, mechanical attrition plays a huge role. So what is that? This is a grit, and this would be grinding the material. As it grinds, small wear flat will start developing, and this wear flat develops because of slow removal of grit due to microfracture. So it is a slow removal, and the scale of removal is also very, very small, and because of that these wear flats would be developing. Some of the book call them abrasive wear flat or wheel wear flat, but the mechanism which we call, it is called mechanical attrition. So gradually you lose wheel wear takes place, your grid becomes blunt because of slow eating away or microfracturing of the grid, and this is called mechanical attrition. Now how is it related to vanadium steel? These vanadium steels would have vanadium carbides. These are very hard. As because they are very hard, when a vanadium carbide particle, this is a vanadium carbide particle, moves against this, it basically removes microcrystals, it removes the grit by almost micro cutting action. So this is one very end of my mechanical attrition, but mechanical attrition does take place even otherwise. There is no micro cutting, there is micro fracturing, that also may happen. So mechanical attrition is a kind of micro fracturing, and there is also micro cutting action by work material. Now you might think, would it happen in case of soft work material? No. This micro cutting action of mechanical attrition, this particular thing would only become valid when your grit is conventional grit and you are grinding a steel or an alloy which has very hard particles. In case of vanadium steel, there would be vanadium carbides which are extremely hard, and they would be able to micro cut your alumina. Now what is chemical attrition? Chemical attrition has been explained here, which is called spinel formation. If you are grinding steel with alumina in aqueous environment, that means in watery environment, oxygen would be picked up from watery environment and a spinel will form, which is iron aluminium oxide, and this particular spinel will form on the grit, and this spinel is very low bond strength. So gradually this would be removed very easily. Not low bond strength, their strength as such is very less, so they will wear out. So this is called chemical attrition. So in this particular slide we have explained A and B. A is mechanical attrition and B is chemical attrition. Chemical attrition, the example that we have given, that spinel formation in grinding of ferrous alloys with alumina. What are A? A can be because of purely mechanical microfracturing of the grit, or there could be micro cutting by the hard carbide particles present in the work material. So these are the variants that you have. Now what we have not discussed is bond fracture and grit fracture. By bond fracture and grit fracture also we tend to have lot of wheel wear. Let us have a look at that. So in case of bond fracture and grit fracture, this is a grit and this has already developed some amount of wear flat because of mechanical and chemical attrition. So wear flat has gone up, so forces have gone up, so stresses on the grit will go up, and a point time will come when this grit will undergo a fracturing like this. This has been discussed during wheel loading as well, and this will happen. Now once again let us go back to wheel loading. These are the bond posts, these are the grits, and here you have loaded particles, and because of that what may happen, this grit, these two grits itself may go out because of bond fracture. So bond fracture is discussed, which will lead to radial wheel wear. grit fracture will lead to radial wheel wear, and even this mechanical attrition would lead to radial wheel wear. So radial wheel wear, what we have discussed so far, that would contribute to this. Chemical attrition, that is spinel formation, would also lead to wheel wear. These are two more examples of chemical attrition. So let us look at the second one. Second one was also indicated earlier. Degradation of diamond grit during grinding of steel. If you try to grind steel with diamond grits, there would be graphitization because of extreme temperature and pressure at the grinding zone. And once graphitization takes place, these graphitized carbon will diffuse from the diamond grits to the workpiece. So this is, by this process, there would be some amount of wheel wear. So this is called chemical attrition, but the more physical explanation is graphitization of diamond at high pressure and temperature and diffusion of those graphitized carbon from the grit to the work material, because work material, if you are grinding steel, it is not saturated with carbon. So because of which this problem will occur. Second one is degradation of CBN when you are grinding anything with CBN with water-based grinding fluid. Most of the time grinding fluids are water-based, that we have already discussed, but unfortunately if the temperature is not properly controlled and steam formation is there, because of high temperature water phase will form steam, that will chemically react with CBN and produce boric oxide, that is B2O3, and that will once again react with water and give you a chemical degradation of CBN producing boric acid. So these are the different mechanisms of grinding wheel wear. Now let us come for some of the numerical problems. So this is a case of plant surface grinding. Let me take some other color. And VW is given, PS is given, downfeed is given, DS is given, width of the work material is given, width of the grinding wheel is given. Now you have a radial wear of 50 micron after 100 passes, and after 300 passes, that is cumulative, not after another, altogether 300 passes, your radial wheel wear is 75. Length of the job is 400 millimeter, and you have been asked to calculate G ratio. Here this G ratio is steady state G ratio, because you are calculating between 100 pass to 300 pass. This is not zero, so it is assumed at 100 pass it has reached steady state. So how do you do it? First you calculate gamma S. So pi ds into dw into delta rs. So pi ds is pi into 225, bw is 10, and delta rs 75 to 50. It was 50, it has become 75. So 75 minus 50 into 10 to the power minus 3. So this whole thing is coming out in millimeter cube. Now you have to calculate delta gamma w. For delta gamma w, it is LW into downfeed per pass into BW. Okay. Now how many number of passes? How many number of passes? Or how many number of passes that you have given? Where is it? It is 300 minus 100. So you are going on grinding a particular material. So at 100 this was 50, at 300 this was 75. So this difference you have taken. Here also you have to take that difference. So 300 minus 100, LW is 400, it is coming from here, and downfeed per pass is 40 micron, which has been converted into millimeter, and width of the job is 10, which is also here 10, and then it becomes 32,000. And your steady state G ratio becomes 32,000 divided by 176.71, and you have a number which is roughly 181. So this is your grinding ratio. This grinding ratio example has been given for plant surface grinding. Now I have not done something analysis, but as I said, all these analyses are applicable in other situation. So a numerical problem I will take. This is a plant cylindrical grinding. So this is your job, which is mounted between centers. This is rotating and you are grinding on this particular area. So all those things. So this is a cylindrical. Where is it? Where is my pen? This is cylindrical. This is cylindrical grinding. Workpiece diameter is 80 millimeters. So this is 80 millimeter. Rotational speed of the workpiece is 24. This is 24 RPM. In feed, so this is the grinding wheel which is going in this direction. It is 2 micron per revolution of the job. Total radial material removal per workpiece. So A total is 200 micron. Width of the grinding wheel is 50 millimeter, which is immaterial. Width of the ground feature, that means this width, is 40 millimeter. Radial wheel wear after 250 workpieces. So you are grinding these one after another. So after you grind 250 workpieces, it becomes 30 micron. Diameter of the grinding wheel and the rotation and the speed they are given. You have to find out cumulative G. For finding out cumulative G, you have to find out gamma S, you have to find out gamma W, and you have to take the ratio gamma W by gamma S. So first let us do gamma S. Gamma S is pi ds into BW into delta RS. So how much is the delta RS? From 0th workpiece to the last workpiece, this is 30 minus 0. So in the first workpiece it was 0, in the last workpiece it is 30, pi into ds equal to 400, and this one is 40. So this is coming out to be 480 pi. Now this one is n, how many number of workpieces, pi dw bw into a total. A total was 200 microns, so 200 into 10 to the power minus 3. This is pi dw, this is 40. 40 was also used in here. This is 40. And this is 249 number of grind workpieces, and this is this much millimeter cube. If you take the ratio, this comes out to be 320. So this is another solved problem that I have shown you for for plant cylindrical grinding, and this is calculation of cumulative grinding ratio, or which is simply called grinding ratio. For plant cylindrical grinding, now there is an assignment. I would like you to submit by 10, 11, 12 the midnight or 11:55 p.m. You should do it, or you may do it on 9/11, which is Monday, from 8 hours to 9 hours. So instead of class, you will be doing this assignment, handwritten assignment, and then you will be submitting it. What is the difference? The problem statement is same. When 250 workpieces have been ground, you had a delta RS of 30 micron. Now you continue grinding. After grinding another 200, workpieces, so when you altogether grind 450 workpieces, then your delta RS becomes 40 micron. So it becomes 40 micron. And now with this one, you have been asked to find out local grinding ratio or steady state grinding ratio. So what we have done in the previous one we have done gamma W equal to n into pi dw bw into a total. Now this n would be 440 minus 240. Gamma S we have calculated as pi ds bw into delta RS. Let us check it. pi ds BW into delta RS. Now this delta RS now would be 50 minus 50, is it 50? No, it is 40. 40 minus 30 micron, so into 10 to the power minus 3. Once you do that, then you will get the value of local grinding ratio by taking delta gamma W divided by delta gamma S. Please understand, this would be delta gamma S and this would be delta gamma W, because increment, not the absolute values. So from that you will be getting local grinding ratio. This assignment has to be submitted by 10/11/2020. Now in my class there are a lot of dual degree students. For dual degree students, your project viva is coming up. So if you are finding it difficult, do not take any pressure on you. If that is the situation, what I would suggest is that for dual degree students, as because they are having project submission, the assignment can be submitted by 14/11/2020 this particular time, which happens to be Saturday. I think this is Saturday. So once again I'll check it here. Yes, your viva and everything would be over by 13th, that is the last date given. So 14th midnight you have to submit it. Whether you will be doing whether you will be undertaking the assignment on coming Sunday or not, that is up to you. It is completely up to you. But as such, we would have had classes during that 1 hour. So you can do that during that 1 hour. Then if you want, you can submit by 10/11/2020. If you do not want, you have to submit by 14/11/2020. So I have given you enough leeway. For MTech students, please do not submit by 14/11/2020. For you, the submission date remains 10/11/2020 midnight. Thank you so much. Thank you for your attention. With that, we complete this 8th module, and in the next class, we will go towards surface integrity.